A woman loses herself due to certain mistakes. We'll talk about these mistakes in my video, specifically the mistakes that women make with good intentions to make their lives better and happier, but in doing so, they lose themselves and even damage their own relationships. Before we dive into the discussion of this video, I'd like to ask you to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up so that more people can see it and it gets recommended. So let's get started. A woman might lose herself in a relationship to the desire to please her partner. She believes that to maintain happiness, she must cater to his needs. This can lead to a mom-son dynamic. So a woman thinks that for the relationship to be happy, she has to dissolve into her partner. She has to do everything absolutely right for him. Let's say he should have the most perfectly ironed bed linens, and he should enjoy a really delicious 5-course dinner. She might even make him some compote or something else, doing this and that for him, making sure all his wishes are fulfilled. Even if he might not actually want all those things she does for him, she believes he would want them, and so she wants to please the man. What happens next? This is where the mom-son dynamic starts. In other words, she does everything for him as if he were a little boy. This is where the mom-son relationship begins. So she does everything for him as if he were a little boy. But we already know about these kinds of relationships. The relationships are dead end because each person wants to separate from their parents. In other words, at some point we distance ourselves from our parents. So a woman who tries to create such relationships is actually destroying them in the future. A man just needs human connection and love. That's it. You don't have to bend over backwards to please him in every little thing. And yes, you shouldn't be hanging on every word of your man, and you don't have to agree with every opinion of his that you don't actually agree with. Often women are afraid to express their opinion because they are afraid of some quarrels and conflicts. But the quarrels and conflicts that occur are necessary. When a man sees a complete person in front of him with her own opinions and interests, he respects that person and loves her. But when a woman completely erases herself and dissolves into a man, saying that this woman is unhappy is really an understatement. And of course, an unhappy woman can't make someone else happy. Next, losing a sense of purpose in life. This, let's say, stems from the desire to please the partner. So she first pleases, does everything for him, for the family, and she thinks she has to do everything for the kids too. Well, my desires, that's okay, maybe someday or maybe never. The main thing is that they feel good, that my husband and the kids are happy for the family. What I always wanted was to sing, dance, do something, I don't know, play the violin or rock climbing, anything. Well, my desires mean nothing. That's how a woman thinks, and she puts a big fat cross on her own development, but she forgets that she came into this world to realize herself not just as a mom and a woman, but also as a person. So she came with some kind of life purpose. And naturally, she doesn't realize herself. Think about what your soul wants, and make sure to take that time for yourself. It is not necessary to give up your family and spend time somewhere all day long. No, but even carving out an hour or two a day, or a few hours a week for something you love is important to fill yourself up, make yourself happier, and move in your own direction, which will also make you and your family happier. And yes, that woman who has lost her life goals, she has forgotten about her dreams, she has forgotten about her interests. She lives her life on autopilot, just like she was told by her mom and grandma. Listening to the darkness, raising kids, cleaning, cooking, that's the woman's job and that's it. And she realizes that she seems to be doing everything right, but something inside just isn't right. For some reason, she feels unhappy, but she can't figure out why. Next, a woman who has forgotten about her own aspirations and has dissolved into the man, into his interests, and the man has already gotten used to that. He's already gotten used to the fact that the whole world revolves around him, and now he wants to make the woman conform to his own interests. So she has to be subordinated only to the man's interests. So of course this leads to the woman being unhappy, and the man doesn't understand what's wrong with her because this woman can't make the family happy while she's in a state of unhappiness. Next, the thirst for constant communication when a woman calls her man 1,500,000 times a day, when she's always chatting in messages and messengers. If he's at home, she doesn't leave his side at all. This indicates that the woman is not confident in her own relationship. She's not confident in the man. Maybe she has some fears, maybe some worries, or perhaps she's just overthinking things, but she's very unsure in this relationship. And instead of taking some time to understand herself, to work on why she's so afraid that something might happen, she starts to control the man. So she can't shake off the anxiety. She's constantly worried about something. From this anxiety, control is born. So she realizes that she's worried about something. She's anxious. She's made up something in her head. And to prevent her fears from happening, she starts to control the man, thus manifesting her fear. Because when a woman starts to squeeze a man, he wants to break free from that control, to escape somewhere, to get as far away as possible because nobody wants to be under pressure. So a woman, out of her insecurity and worries, creates that very pressure that can destroy the relationship. Next, I'm worse than him. Here again, making this mental mistake that is, a woman sees her man's successes, achievements, sees that he is handsome, smart, and begins to think that she is worse than him. So instead of focusing on her own development, her own interests, and moving forward, she gets caught up in her inner insecurity. If you start to catch yourself thinking that you're worse than your partner, it's essential to work on yourself and your self-esteem. This partner chose you, but when a woman starts to project that she's worse onto the man, he begins to feel it. This partner chose you. But when a woman starts to project that she's worse onto the man, he begins to feel it. He starts to notice it and understand that she's not right for him. Everything that a woman feels inside, a man picks up on it very clearly. He begins to notice this and understand that she is not right for him. So everything a woman feels inside, a man picks up on it very clearly. And he starts to look at her through the lens of those feelings and experiences. So if you start catching yourself thinking that you're worse, it's important to work on your self-esteem. Think about where everything comes from. Start doing something interesting in your own life. The most interesting thing for a man and a woman is a passionate woman. Passionate about something she's into, some interest, with sparkling eyes, live, energized, a woman who has a lot of energy, and naturally she shares it, she gives it away, and naturally such a woman is always delightful to a man. So if you start feeling like you're worse than your man, focus on your desires and your personal growth. Think about what you wanted, what you haven't done for yourself in a long time, what you desire. Do something for yourself, treat yourself, pamper yourself, and you'll see how quickly your man's attitude towards you will change when he notices an even more interesting woman next to him, an even more beautiful, even more successful one. He'll start to admire you, give compliments, and make gifts because you can't force a man to love you. You can love yourself, and from that state, a man will love you. That's all I have for this video. This was me, Alisa Vardonskaya. I hope for your likes and subscriptions. Write in the comments what you would like to discuss in my new videos. Don't forget to hit the bell, and goodbye, everyone.